Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. Welcome to the Great Guitar Build Off 2023 and my scratch build entry. I've missed the deadline for the GGBO. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was going to have to take some shortcuts if I was going to finish. I decided immediately that I was not willing to do that. If I missed the first couple of days of voting, I'm not really that worried about that, you guys. I don't care about winning. I just want to share my journey with you guys. And I feel like I owe it to the Great Guitar Build Off. I feel like I owe it to the viewers on my channel. And I feel like I owe it to myself to finish this build at the quality level that it needs to be. That being said, I'm just going to continue on. Regardless, I'll have a guitar that I can be proud of in the end, and that hopefully you guys will like as well. Everything's sanded, we're ready to roll. I've got 3 coats of Osmo satin hard wax oil on this neck. We're going to pop some frets in here. So what I'm going to use for this guitar is my standard 18% extra hard nickel silver Centoms fret wire, 2.8 millimeters wide, 1.4 millimeters tall. This is what I would consider to be a medium jumbo fret wire. All right, so I've got my radiusing jig mounted up in my vise over here. You want to bend your radius slightly greater than the radius your fretboard sanded to. You want to cut parallel to the tang. So I got a little triangle file here. We're going to very carefully run just a couple of passes on each slot. We're going to go down through here with my little Hosco fret slot cleaning saw. I just want to pull any of that stuff that's left in the fret slot. I want to pull that out. I saw this not long ago. This is called a Music Nomad B file, and it's a beveling file. And I've been reluctant to buy a beveling file because most of them are cut at 45 degrees. To me, that is way too much of an angle. This file is actually cut at 23 degrees. I want to try this thing out right now. It feels really nice and positive. That is so sweet right there, you guys. I love that. So let's catch this other side. That was $28 well spent. All right, you guys, so we got our neck fretted. Everything's great. I got the fret ends filed at 90 degrees. We will bevel those later. We're getting ready to level sand this clear coat. I'm gonna buff it and we'll get this thing up to a high gloss finish. I've got 1200 grit on a super Aslix pad with an extra piece of sponge right there to give me just a little extra assurance around the edges. I've got a hard interface pad on this one for all the flat spots because I don't want to see waves in my finish. When you're trying to sand edges, corners, contours, anything like that, one swipe with too much pressure and you're through the finish. All right, you guys, I kept sanding and sanding and sanding, and I got up to 2000 grit, and I thought I'd hit record, but I didn't. But basically what I did, just so you guys know, I wrapped 1500 around this little block to start with, and I got all my flat areas. Then I wrapped 2000 grit around this block. I worked on a section at a time until I felt comfortable that I had it decently flat. Now I'm to the point that I'm wetting this down. I'm taking some Fretwork G360 super fast white lid compound. I start slow so it doesn't want to sling everywhere, which it still will. And you just mist your body. You don't want it soaking wet. In these thin areas like this, I slow the pad down because I do not want to burn through. Beautiful gloss. Excellent. We're going to go to the blue pad, which is a fine polish pad. We're going to go to the black lid for Fretwork. This is just a much finer abrasive content in this. The longer you hold it in one spot, the hotter it gets. The hotter it gets, the more of a chance you're taking of burning through your finish. All right, and I'm just gonna throw a quick buff on this thing. Look at that gloss. That is absolutely gorgeous. All right, we're gonna flip this thing over. I've wet sanded this front. I'm gonna go back to the white pad. So I am blown away by this color, you guys. I mean, polishing clear coat with a color like that on it makes it look so three-dimensional. Now I want to bevel the sides of these frets, and that's why I bought this file. Let's pan down here and see what this thing will do on the bevel side. Beautiful. They're nice, they're all seated beautifully. I'm gonna lay this notched straight edge right down my center line, and we want to make certain that our neck is flat. All right, you guys, that looks really good. I'm gonna take a red Sharpie, go down through here and mark the top of my frets. A colored Sharpie, red, blue, whatever, is easier to see on a fret than black. So let's get our fret leveling beam. I've got 180, 220 on this thing. I'm gonna use the 180 side first. Let's put it on the caul so I don't sand a valley into the center. I started taping up the guitar on Thursday night. That's where I made it to when I decided I was stopping and wasn't gonna try to beat the deadline. And we're gonna continue on that. So let's pan down here. I'm going back down through here, and I used the Dagger 2.0 fret crowning file to crown these frets. But what I have found is, in order to keep the line that I've drawn on there with the marker in the center of the fret, I have discovered that I prefer using a triangle file, specifically the Crimson Smooth Finish Premium Fret Crowning file. This is the way to go, in my opinion. Just leaves such a superior finish. I'm not putting any downward pressure. I'm just letting the sandpaper do the work. And what that does is helps roll that top over. All right, you guys, so I took the tape off my fretboard. Any little dings or fingernail drags or anything like that I got on this fretboard throughout that fret leveling, crowning, polishing process, we want to get rid of those. So how I've started to do that, and I've watched several videos on this, I want to take some quadruple aught steel wool, and I just want to lightly go over this frets, fretboard, and all. Yes, I know I'm dulling my frets back down from where they were, but this next process is going to take care of that. I got my buffing machine hooked up over here to the side. I've got some transparent paste wax right here, and I'm just going to let that buffing wheel get some of that wax down in it. And just run it back and forth a few times, not letting it cross over to my treble side at this point because it'll want to jerk the neck out of our hand. Then we'll turn it around this way. Same thing. And there we go, you guys, a Ceres neck. Beautiful. My fret ends turned out nice. I don't feel any sharpness as I'm moving down through there. I'm getting better and better at fret ends every time I do this. What I think we need to do right away is to clean up this cavity that our bridge needs to recess into, this area right in here. I want to black all that out. So last night when we left off, I had blacked out my bridge recess. I went ahead and also blacked out the spring cavity. I use Easy Slide graphite base coating for a shielding paint. and have since I started. I'm happy with that. Let's rinse our brush out. This is a DiMarzio Fast Track DP181. These screws are 3 millimeters in diameter. We're going to use a 2.5 millimeter drill bit. Just wax these screws. I'm using a satin chrome bridge post as opposed to the black nickel, which is actually the color of the Floyd that we're using here. I got my soldering iron out here. I'm ready to solder this guitar up and get all the wiring done. I am going to get myself some solder built up on my spring claw. We're going to wire our pickups in, and I've got a wiring diagram drawn up on my phone here. So I went ahead and finished that up. Both humbuckers are wired in standard humbucker mode. Tone volume 500K pots on both the tone and the volume, and I used a 22 microfarad tone capacitor. Right now what I need to do is get this nut mounted, get our tuners mounted, and then we're going to throw this neck on the guitar, put the bridge in there, and throw some strings on this puppy. I had pre-drilled these holes. I'll wax these screws nicely. All right, you guys, there's my nut mounted up nice. I'm using satin chrome hip shot non-locking. We'll pop these all in, then I'll put the bushings on, and then I'll turn it over and put the mounting screws in the back. And there we go. Tuners mounted. We're all good to go. I got a lovely, lovely snug neck pocket. Let's pop these bridge posts in. I got the springs on. I upgraded the saddles. They're stainless steel. I put a brand new thick fat brass block from Floyd Rose on this tremolo as well. These are 9 through 46 Ernie Ball hybrid slinkies. On a Floyd Rose, I string the guitar backwards. I put the ball ends at the tuner, on the tuner end. I just realized I was wearing a bathrobe for that sound demo, the short one that I did. I will get you guys a proper sound demo coming up shortly. I broke the bottom E on this guitar. It's getting late, and I didn't want to take the time to restring this Floyd. I want this guitar to stay under tension for a couple of weeks before I do the final setup on it. But everything works just as it should. It turned out beautiful. I love the color. I love the neck. I want to thank you once again for all your support throughout this series. You guys, this guitar has been a test of my will, my patience, and my resolve. Thank you to Ben and all the guys at Crimson for the killer job they've done with the Great Guitar Build-Off this year. I had a blast. Thank you to Gio, my brother. We'll be starting a new collaboration coming up here shortly. Thank you to all my fellow builders in the Great Guitar Build-Off this year. Good luck, you guys. Don't forget to go vote. It doesn't matter if you vote for me, but go vote for someone, please. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be the sound demo for this guitar, hopefully. And until then, peace and love.